In this repair video, we're going to be working on a very expensive card. This is a voice over IP network card, and it looks something like this and goes by the name of RTS RVON card, RVON. You can look it up. Customer mailed this card over because of a ripped cap and ripped traces of the board. Let's read what the customer wrote. Cap was knocked off board. Can you check cap, repair traces, and fix board? You will not be able to test. Give it your best. You will not be able to test. Give it your best. That rhymes. Also, can you check if any other caps feel loose? So let's take a look at the board and see where that cap came off from. Customer said to also check rest of the caps on the board and make sure they are not loose. I see about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 caps, give or take. So let's go over those caps quick. Cap is solid. Cap is solid. And this one is solid. And this one is solid. Solid. And I do not have to show you every cap, but I'm going through them one by one. And we have this one here. And we have this one here. So all the caps are good. They are solid. And now we need to look at where that cap came off the board. I'm looking for ripped traces. I do see an area to put a cap, but I do not see any ripped pads right here. We see a placeholder for the cap, but this one looks empty from the factory. Factory soldering, and we do not see any ripped pads. So where on the board did that cap rip from? Oh, right here, right here. You see? Those pads were ripped off and they are still stuck on back of the cap, right here. And the cap is supposed to go like this. A black side on the straight line. As we can tell right here, the black side is on the straight line. And the other side is on the diamond cut line. So how are we going to solder this cap if the traces are ripped? What I'm going to do is we're going to grind this trace right here. We're going to grind this trace, and we're going to solder this pin to the grinded trace that we see here, and then I'm going to run a wire from here to the grinded area of this trace. That would be the best way to solder this capacitor. And capacitors on this board are important. This is a voice over IP card. So every cap on the board is important. I could have used a bigger grinding bit, but it doesn't matter. The end result is the same. Maybe we can tin those traces. And we need to remove the red pads of the capacitor from the back. So let's see, let's take a look. And just like that. And if we go back to the board, let's apply solder here, fume extractor on. The customer is very polite and very understanding, and he knows that we cannot test this card after replacing the cap. This is the type of customer that I would go the extra mile for. When he's polite, I'm more polite. And let's see. We're gonna have to solder. We're gonna heat up this area with our soldering iron, and the pin is gonna make a connection with the trace or with the pad. Let's rotate the board, because I like to solder with my right hand and grab the cap with my left hand. And just like that. Let me just remove the cap and I'll tell you what I want to do. I'm gonna pre-solder a wire under the cap so that we do not have to struggle to solder a wire while the cap is on the board. So let's solder a wire right over here. So flip the cap. And just like that. Just a tiny bit of flux. And I'm going to use a piece of blue tack to hold that cap down in place. Just like that. All right, awesome. Now we can solder the capacitor, and right now I'm focused all the way down and not on top of the cap. So we're not out of focus, but I'm focusing all the way down on the bottom. And maybe we can use our anti-glare light to get rid of reflections, just like that. Let's align and solder. Yeah, it just settled down. And I felt the whole cap go down. Okay, let's apply some flux. Right, awesome. The cap is not stable because the trace itself is weak. Now look at this. The wire is stripped just the right amount. Free apply solder right here. And all the way to the pin. Great. We did an awesome job. Right now we can cut the wire right here. Just like that. The cap is making a connection from both ends, from here and from here. It's still gonna wobble because we do not have the full pad under the cap. Let's clean up. All right, and in just a minute, I'm gonna apply the B7000 glue. You can also find this on our site. Just log into NorthridgeFix.com, click on shop, and you can buy whatever tools you need from our site. Everything from soldering stations, hot air station, thermal camera. Thermal cameras are actually out of stock right now, but we should have a shipment by next week. Tweezers, flux, solder wicks, everything. So let's go under the microscope. And I'm gonna apply some B7000 glue right here. Maybe we can do it on the sides also. And the glue will take maybe 30 minutes to 1 hour to harden. So we'll just keep it on the side until tomorrow. And by that time, maybe the customer would have paid and we can mail this back to him. And awesome. This is the same glue that we use for iPhone screens, iPad screens, and whatever glass we need to install on whatever device. So we're done. The cap is soldered on right here, right there, and we're gonna invoice and mail this back to the customer. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think. Leave it down in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll do something else in the next video.